Hello and thank you for tuning in. We have prepared for you a presentation on the developmental milestones in school-age children. So that's children between the ages of 5 and 7 years old. This is by Cassandra Chillingworth, Hannah Horan, Lexi Wayne, Kristen Hodgson, and Jessica Sitt. Thank you and hope you enjoy. Developmental milestones are basically certain abilities that are achieved by most children at the same age. There are 4 basic categories of milestones. There are physical milestones, cognitive milestones, social and emotional milestones, and language milestones. You might wonder how developmental milestones can be helpful to ECEs and to parents. Well, it validates and reassures parents that they are providing the skills, information, and ideas needed to raise a happy, healthy, well-adjusted child. It also shows parents where their child might need help. It helps educators to know how to best socialize with them, and it builds an understanding of the child's milestones that can gear the educator's lesson plans to maximize success in both academic and social realms of their lives. Some physical milestones are: there is an increase of height and body weight, the brain volume stabilizes, and there is a thickening of the cerebral cortex. Development in fine motor skills include one-handed fine motor tasks. You learn to print, cut out art for projects, color in between the lines, draw recognizable pictures, and you're able to dress yourself. Some gross motor skills include jumping, climbing, and running, the ability to ride a 2-wheeled bike, and to run up and down the stairs. Some social-emotional developmental milestones include learning new ways of interacting with others and controlling emotions, gaining a self-esteem, learning to measure their own performances, being able to identify parents with the same sex, ability to separate from their parents, and being able to compare. In addition, they also develop social skills to make friends. They develop the ability to communicate without the help of an adult, and they're also very good at mimicking you. There are certain red flags you can look for to monitor your child's social and emotional development. For example, if they're not interested in playing with the other children, or they're not able to share or take turns with children, or when they become extremely upset when plans get changed unexpectedly, or they have difficulty separating from their parents, and they're too passive or they're too fearful, and they don't want to try things with other children their age. Some language milestones for a 5-year-old include the ability to understand more than 1,500 words. You can identify and name 4 to 8 colors, recognize humor in simple jokes, and usually makes up a lot of jokes and riddles as well. They can state their own birthday, name of their hometown, and the names of their family members. They can answer their phone appropriately, and usually calls an adult to the telephone, or can take a brief message. They also use would, could, and should appropriately. Some language milestones in a 6-year-old include talking non-stop, although this behavior might not be encouraged in all cultures. They also acquire language patterns that do reflect their own cultural background. They can carry out adult-like conversations and tends to ask a ton of questions. They like to imitate slang and profanity, and they also enjoy telling jokes and riddles. Language milestones in a 7-year-old include liking to read and write short stories, becoming more precise and elaborate in their use of language, using gestures to illustrate their conversations, criticizing their own performance. For example, "I didn't draw that right," or "her picture is better than mine." Describing their personal experiences in great detail, and enjoying to write emails and simple notes to their friends. Some cognitive milestones of a 5 to 6-year-old include the ability to count up to 10 objects at one time, knowing left from right, and being able to reason and argue, and using words like why and because. Cognitive milestones of a 7-year-old include developing a longer attention span, willing to take on more responsibility, understanding fractions and the concepts of space, understanding money, being able to tell time, and can name the months and days of the week in order. And that concludes our presentation on developmental milestones in school-age children by Cassandra Chillingworth, Hannah Horan, Lexi Wayne, Kristen Hodgen, and Jessica Sitt. Thank you for your time.